Many thanks for choosing us. We begin with football this afternoon because former football administrator Herbert Mensah expects mass resignations and possible prosecution of administrators and officials of Ghana Football Association for compromising their roles in the yet-to-be-released investigative piece by journalist Anas Arimea Anas. The secret recording, according to the investigator, captures the FA boss Kwesi Nyantakyi, managers of the game in compromised roles. Herbert Mensah tells Joy News the country's image is badly bruised and only a thorough cleanup can redeem it.
We have a video that is going to be premiered and it talks about corruption in football. First of all, what is your own reading into what we are all waiting to see, especially with what has happened to the GFA president as of now?
You know, I think that there are certain matters that are seismic. And I think when we saw the downfall of Sepp Blatter and what happened within FIFA, it was seismic. They had the option to listen to public opinion. They had the option to self-regulate. They had the option to show the world that they are not above the law. And they did not heed it. And that was seismic. There have been changes in the global sphere in terms of the way football is run. And then we now come into Ghana. Look, the issue of what goes on vis-a-vis Anas, the BBC, is power, of course. It happens all around the world. We may have our views about whether it was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. The fact of the matter is it happens. Could I be caught in such a situation? Maybe in different circumstances. Anybody can. But the fact of the matter is something has happened. I don't know what is going to be revealed in the tapes, which is what I'm very, very, very quiet. I have to be respectful, first, of the process. I have to be respectful of the law. I have to be respectful of Kwesi himself and Ghana football. But at the end of it, I think that this damages the image of Ghana football to a level that it doesn't matter right and wrong. It doesn't matter whether it is Kwesi and other associates are guilty in this matter. The image of the game has been damaged. And I think the only thing that will redeem the image is, one, if tomorrow's viewings show there to be nothing that is tied into Kwesi, that means people are simply speculating wrongly, then Kwesi comes out of this stronger. But if there are statements that are made, either one that brings the imagery and the optics of the presidency and therefore Ghana down, then that is not acceptable. It's simply not acceptable. Even if it was a joke, there is no joke like that. You know what I'm saying? There are jokes and jokes. It cannot be something that is tenable. It may not hold in the rule of law, but certainly in terms of the court of public opinion and how it is that Ghana is seen, that is one thing. But we don't know. If, on the other hand, there are structures within the Football Association that are also compromised, whether it is officiating or things that fall on the integrity of the game, that is also not acceptable.
Because we've been told that some bodies in the FA setup have had the opportunity of watching the video, even as the whole nation awaits the premiere tomorrow. Now, we've been told that some referees who were caught in compromised position have been written to by the Referee Association of Ghana, asking that they respond to their role in the analysis video. And the same has gone to some members of the executive committee of the Ghana Football Association. So clearly, some people have been identified. And indeed, this one, I heard some referees on radio admitting that they've been written to and they've admitted taking some money to influence the outcome of certain matches that they handled. So clearly, the foundation has been established. Corruption, I don't think you're surprised that it is in football.
I'm not surprised that it is. And I think that the world has changed. There was a time where it was the accepted norm. And I think those of us who've been involved in football understand how the system has worked over a period of time. Acceptable? No. I think the world has changed, and I think that's why His Excellency himself has taken a position. Gone are the days that we just simply accept wrongdoing as right. Wrong cannot be right, and right cannot be wrong. And there's a global standard upon which we all live and upon which we are now judged. If it is rugby, in terms of global compliance, there's a way in which we have to run Ghana rugby. We can't run it Herbert Mensah's way. There's no such thing. There's only a global standard. The football fraternity for too long has assumed that they were untouchable. This matter goes beyond the remit and what it is that is permissible, ethically, and within the other bounds. I haven't seen the things that you've taken, but I take it at your word. The question is that when people do wrong in Ghana, we say, oh, leave it. You know, I'm not of that opinion. I think you've reached a point where it is that where wrongdoing is done, irrespective of the law, people either must be able to get up and say, I am a public officer representing the interests of the people, and I have let them down, step down. Whether it's a matter that you now go into another world, or whether you face the rigors of the law, or whatever it is, the imagery of who you are determines the future of our children and our children's children in terms of sports and development of where they go. So if you're saying there are referees who've admitted they've taken money to influence matches, resignation is the first step. A strong action even before the viewing of the tape today should be there. You know, and those who are then responsible, who have not put a system of checks and balances in place, should be called in order. You know, that within the first 6 months of taking over rugby in Ghana, I flew to Europe and I met with the chiefs, the big chiefs in terms of rugby. There had been issues of how many people are involved in the development of rugby at schools. The data was wrong. They were surprised that I stood on the ground and called them out. I'm no saint, but the basis upon which, the criteria in which we develop must be accurate. We cannot sit in offices of public offices and assume that we have rights. And quite frankly, Elton, the reason Ghana is not developing is that there are too many people, politicians, ministers, past politicians, current politicians, who think it is their rights. Nobody has a right. The rights are only with the common people, the people who choose no longer to go to the stadium because they don't like what is right. The people who choose no longer to vote because they don't believe in the ballot box. The people who suffer every single day, and people who are in power assume that it is their right to lord over others. Now, the statements are not accusatory. They're just simply a matter of fact. And you know, you've been close enough to me for 15, 20 years to know my hymn book has been the same. What is right, and what is wrong. And if there is wrongdoing within the FA, then I would expect them, as people of integrity or otherwise, to take a position. And if there isn't, then people need to apologize to them. But I'm saying if, because I have not seen the tape. But if that is the case, let us set a standard. Let us clear the way. Let us clear the field. Let Ghana be free. Let us see a new way forward. And hopefully from there, true talent will shine.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question, that after the video, what happens next in redeeming the image of the Ghana football?
Well, it depends on two things. If you go back to world football, Sepp Blatter and them were not prepared to stand down. You know, it took the, I'm not sure, FBI or CIA to get involved and really push hard enough for them to have to stand down. And then you brought about change. Look, we are aware of things that are said in football, and as a Ghanaian, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to see another Ghanaian suffer in any way. But we've all heard that members of the British establishment have got videotapes and documentation on matches, on issues, on an array of different things. And I think that the advantage that the FA have, and the advantage that the president of the FA has, is that he's in seat. So he can direct the moral optics of where Ghana football goes. You know, the most powerful man in this Anas issue is not Anas, it's Kwesi Nyantakyi, it's the executive. If they love Ghana, if they love football, if they are there to serve the people, then they are the most powerful people. If it is wrong, do not move. If it is right, then they need to get out of there. I mean, it's simple as that. Whichever position is taken will determine how the world sees us, will determine how global sponsors see us, will determine whether we are seen as really that nation that has not had coup d'etats, that believes in democracy, that believes in its institutions. But if not, then it goes to the other thinking that those are just there to allow people to take positions and do whatever they want.